talk about today, but you remember 1.6 grams and the importance of 1.6 grams, I'd be happy. Okay, so this isn't complicated. What I'm about, I identify as a healthy ager. Scientific definition of a healthy ager is the moment you turn 40. So you get into that 5th decade. That's the science world. I'm a scientist. And there's things that happen in our body. Our ability to build muscle, retain muscle, it changes. So I think a lot of people just assume, oh, I'm getting older, I'm going to lose muscle. Well, that's what we thought. There's ways to preserve muscle. The importance of preserving muscle is so that we can move freely and continue to do the things that we've always done. So we don't have to slow down. Maybe we slow down a little bit, but we don't have to stop moving. We can keep moving. Movement is life. And if we have the ability to move, not only can we live long, we can live well while we live long. So for me, it's not about living long. I'd love to be 100, but I don't want to be decrepit at 100. I want to be still moving. So that's kind of the foundation of what I want to talk about. So there's 4 things: got to move, be flexible, resistance, and hit your protein number. There's some other things, but I don't think we'll have time for it. So if you go to the next one, I think we can skip by that one because you heard about me. So got to move. So movement is one of those key pillars. You've got to find what moves you. So Deb said, I'm a cyclist. I love to cycle. You don't have to be, cycle to make this work. What do you guys do to move? I know that some of you move.
Racquetball.
Racquetball. Yeah. Great. Tennis.
Hockey.
Hockey. Awesome. Yeah. So the importance of the movement is it's something you enjoy. So it's not something you have to do. It's something that you get to do. And I like people to move every day, 30 minutes a day. You move 30 minutes a day, that's great. Enjoyable, get that heart rate up just a little bit, walk in the park, do whatever, the things that you just mentioned. You can't do 30 a day, do 63 times a week. That's one of the key pillars. Next. Be flexible. So we have to be flexible. You talk about being open. Our minds need to be flexible to the world around us, but our bodies need to be flexible. And if we're flexible, what does flexible mean to you when I say be flexible?
Yoga.
Yoga?
Yeah, walk upstairs with them.
Yeah. I do a lot of cycling. I did this big event in 2023 over in Paris. You do 1,200K in 80 hours. I did it, but I came home and I was kind of broken. And I was like, I went to a PT here in town, and she said, Darce, there's nothing wrong with your knee. I have severe knee pain, 500K left onwards. She said, there's nothing wrong with your knee. She says, your back is really tight, your hips, your glutes, my hamstrings. Like I couldn't touch my toes. I couldn't do anything. She said, you need to get flexible. So August of 2023, I went and found this app. It's $30. I love this app because it keeps me accountable. I run the streets. It gives you all the information you need to get flexible. Flexibility you should be doing 3 times a week. I do it every day because when in August of 2023, when I'd get out of bed, talk about that stiffness, it was a chore to get up out of bed, to put my socks on in the morning. Like I couldn't do any of this. I'm super fit, but I wasn't flexible. So I needed the second component. I needed the flexibility. So these are the things that will happen or not happen if you're more flexible. Every one of these is super important. So movement, flexibility. So mobility problems. Like I look at my mom, she's 78, she's losing muscle mass, she's very inflexible, and I know where we're going with it. I hate being the scientist that knows the information of where my mom's going. This is preventable. We can live really well into our years. So I would highly recommend you find something that gives you the flexibility. You go into a yoga class 3 times or 2 times a week, once a week, and then do a little bit of stretching in front of the TV. I was watching, heartbreaking Lions game last week, and I'm stretching while I'm doing that. You just have to figure out how to fit it all in, because life's super busy. If I went and just stretched, it might be difficult to fit everything in. But if I combine a couple of things that I like to do, watching TV and flexibility, it seems to work. So prioritize flexibility and stretching. Next, please.
What does the app do?
The app, good question. It guides you through. You can pick a 6-minute full body, and it shows you the exercise, and it actually takes you through. The one that I do is full body. It's 22 minutes. I kind of formulated it that way, and I start it. Starts off by me doing, a pose like that, then my toes, and it beeps. It counts down, and it takes you through that 22 minutes. And if you needed some information, well, what do they want me to do in that stretch? You just click on it. It shows you how to do the stretch. And at the end of it, it tracks it. And it has this, it's kind of a goofy flexibility meter. It tells you, your level of flexibility. I like it because it tells me a streak. My longest streak ever is 31 days in a row. Currently, I'm on my 6th day. I did my 6th day yesterday. So for me, it's about information and accountability. So here's a brick wall. Muscle is constantly turning over. So if you looked out at your arm, all the muscle in your arm is going to be completely replaced in how long? Does anyone have a guess?
30 days.
30 days? Actually, it is 2 months. In 2 months, every muscle fiber in my arm is going to be completely replaced. Why is that important? It's important because it's a natural process. It's always happening. We're always taking bricks out of this wall. Always. Regardless of what we choose to do. So what happens when we age, our ability to build muscle, it changes. And I'll tell you how it changes and what we can do about it. But if we're not putting bricks in that wall at the rate that they're naturally coming out, we're gonna what? Lose muscle mass. And if we lose muscle mass, we lose the ability to freely move and do the things that we've always done. And if you want to get really serious, as soon as you can't do a squat, what happens? Absolutely. So as soon as you lose the ability to get up from the toilet, you need either help at home or it's long-term care. So this stuff's really important to feel good now, but to avoid some of what could come. So sorry, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but this is super important. So we have to be putting muscle or bricks in the wall at the same rate that they're coming out. Okay. Third pillar, so movement, flexibility, resistance. So resistance work, we have to take our muscles to failure 3 times a week. What does taking muscle to failure mean to you? Anybody? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where would we do that? How could we do that? Yeah.
In your basement. Gym.
Absolutely. So you can go to a gym. Mobody, we've got a great gym. We could, take up a load, some weights, and do that until you can't do it anymore. Do 3 sets, and that's taking muscle to failure. To do body squats, just go up and down, push-ups. You don't need to be fancy, but you do need to take the muscle to failure because that's part of the equation of muscle protein synthesis. So muscle protein synthesis is our body's mechanism to put bricks in that wall. Okay, so we need to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, resistance exercise, taking muscles to failure, stimulates muscle protein synthesis. So resistance puts bricks into the wall when there's enough protein present. So as I said, it doesn't have to be fancy. You just have to, I can't do another squat, you know, like at bodyweight squats. I can't do another push-up. That's what it means to take the muscle failure. Really important. Okay. Is this resonating with you? Okay. So there's the number. 1.6 grams. The food guide in Canada and all of North America actually states that we should be getting about 0.8 grams per kilo of body weight per day. So I'm 180 pounds, 80 kilos. They say I need about 65 grams of protein per day. That's not what the science says. We've been partnered with we're very fortunate. We do some work with high-end athletics in Canada. That led to us working with McMaster University and a key researcher there, Dr. Stuart Phillips. We've supported many of his trials. One trial, I'll send it to whoever I should send it to, and I'd like you to circulate it. It was a study that was done with a 73-year-old population where they got a little bit of protein twice a day, plus they were on a rigorous, not a rigorous, 3 times a week exercise program, resistance. And in about 20 weeks, they were trying to stop the muscle loss or sarcopenia. In that 20 weeks, not only did they halt it for that 73-year-old male population, that population gained 1.2 kilos of lean muscle mass. Incredible. And it actually had some very strong cognitive outcomes as well. So the 1.6 has been shown in the last 20 years that this is the number. So once we hit the scientific definition of aging, we need 1.6 grams per day. So for me, I need 130 grams of protein per day to continue to maintain and even build my muscle mass. So the next slide will just give you some examples. So maybe you identify with a certain weight here. As I said, here's where I am. I need about 128 grams of protein. Where do we get protein from? What are some of the foods that are rich in protein? I saw some on your plate. Eggs. Yeah. Peanut butter. Cottage cheese.
Meat.
Meat.
Fish.
Absolutely. Fish.
Veggies.
Yeah.
Vegetables.
They do. And they don't have as much. So you just have to eat a little bit more. One of the challenges as we age is your food actually has to become, if you're going to eat the same amount of calories to sustain the movement that you do, like if you want to stay the same weight, eat the same calories as you're burning. It's very simple. But as we age, the percentage of grams or calories from protein have to increase. And if I'm eating only sweet potatoes, I'm going to have to eat a lot of sweet potatoes to get 120 grams. So you have to find protein-rich foods in order to get that equation correct. At the end, there's we created a website called proteinperday.com, and you go there and there's not only a calculator that helps you figure out what your target is, but there's lots of resources, including foods that are rich in protein and how much protein are in each of those foods. So often I hear someone say, you know, I had a healthy breakfast, most important meal of the day, breakfast, because we just slept. Maybe at 8 o'clock last night, we stopped eating protein. We didn't take any in during our sleep. We wake up in the morning, we're fasted, we took a lot of bricks out of the wall. The wrong meal to not have at least a third, a quarter of the protein daily requirement. So for me, I need 30 grams in the morning. If I don't have that, I'm not doing my body service. So don't skip breakfast. What I find when I talk to people, oh yeah, I do really well for breakfast. And I ask the question, well, what did you have? Well, I had toast and peanut butter and maybe a bit of yogurt. That is not 30 grams of protein unless you're eating an awful lot of it. I had eggs. How many eggs do you have to eat to get 30 grams of protein? 5. None of us are eating 5 eggs in the morning. So you have to find, and I'm not a big fan of counting calories for the long term. I don't think it's sustainable. It takes too much force of will. It takes away from all the other things that we want to do. But I do think it's really good to do it for a couple of weeks, at least on your protein grams. Take the time to know what your protein, that 1.6 grams, looks like, so that you know how to get your protein in throughout the day. Protein needs to be spaced. Morning, lunch, dinner, maybe after a workout, or a snack later on. 4 doses a day would be ideal. 3 to 4 is fine. Okay. So how will you feel when you get each of these 4 pillars done? So I'm moving, I'm flexible, I'm doing my resistance work, and you're hitting your protein now. How do you think you might feel?
More energy.
Yeah. Tired. There's always one day around. Less pain. Absolutely. Yeah. I was talking to our bookkeeper. She was in doing getting ready for our taxes to submit last night, Marilla, and she's just starting. She was on a webinar that we did a couple weeks ago, and she said, it's so hard to do what we say, and that's good perspective. It doesn't feel hard to me because these are all habits and things that I've integrated. And what I would say is, yes, there's this initial heart to kind of break through and establish some healthy habits. But over time, that becomes easy. And I would say for Morella, her life is hard. Getting out of bed is hard. Just doing the daily things is hard. I think when we do these 4 things, we make life a lot easier. And if you look at the total cost, life becomes a lot easier if we're doing these things. And they should be enjoyable. Like, you can't compress a spring for too long. We don't have enough willpower to do that all the time. So integrate it into your daily and your weekly. Have some goals. Have fun with it. It's super important. I know you'll feel better. I wish I could just give you a jar and maybe you're doing this now. So maybe some of you are doing a lot of these things now. If there's one that you can do a better job, do a little bit better job at this because you're worth it. I'm gonna go down. So these are some of the resources that we have available. How are we doing for time?
You have about 3, 4.
3, 4 minutes. Okay, so check out Protein Per Day. Atomic Habits is a great book. James Clear talks about healthy habits. It's good for our business world. What you do within the Rotary Club, anything, establishing healthy habits, super important. When I send that research paper, I also should send a video of the roll-up protein. I cannot do this talk justice. This guy, Dr. Stu Phillips, he's speaking to a Korean audience. It was South Korea. And why I like this, he has an incredible way of conveying complex terms to the layman. And, this one is even better because the audience, English is their second language. So his terms and the way he conveys, it's a 28-minute video and a YouTube video. And the very research that he talks about is what we supported. So I'm involved in it, I know it well, but I think it's an excellent video talking about the why of protein and some of the myths out there about it. So MyFitnessPal, if you want to get into tracking, it's a great app. There's a free version, super easy to use. Okay. So if food is fuel, I could come back and talk another time if you wish, and we can get into some of the aspects of connecting with food is your fuel. So however you want to move, you have to take enough fuel in to sustain that movement. If you want to make a change in your body composition, if you want to gain weight, you have to consume more calories than you're burning. The opposite is true. You want to stay the same, just balance it. That formula doesn't lie. It's just science. Okay, so appreciate.
Of course.
Absolutely.
that's. So intermittent fasting. All this stuff, I recovered food addicts, so helped me a lot,
Yes.
in where I am now, so. There's been a lot, so I just wanted your.
Yeah, it's a good question. What did intermittent fasting do for you? What was the outcome?
It probably. But yeah, I lost 130.
Yes. So it's, yeah.
So I've been this way for about 5 years.
Congratulations. That's a huge shift. It is very effective at reducing body weight. Absolutely. I like it in acute ways. So I think it's good for the body. What it's doing is creating a severe calorie deficit. If you scroll down to see these little scales, that's what's happening on intermittent fasting. Is I'm consuming way less calories because I'm eating for a shorter window than my body is burning. So 3,500 calorie loss is 1 pound. So that's what intermittent fasting did to you. One of the challenges with intermittent fasting is it kind of flies in the face of preserving muscle mass. So that's why I like it. Intermittent fasting, I think, is a better way because I don't want to go too long where I'm losing muscle. Because the body doesn't discriminate. You'll lose body fat and muscle at the same time. So I like a fasting model that maybe you just have protein in the morning. If you want to go until after like dinner time, have protein at lunch, just protein, and something that's consumable, and then have at it. So I'm all for, if someone wants to lose weight, I'm all for them to restrict calories, run a calorie deficit, but I'm not about restricting the amount of protein. Absolutely, yeah. Full disclosure, I do that every morning. So you asked me if I wanted breakfast. No, I have a hot cup of Polar Joe, one of our products. I have a serving and a half. It's 30 grams. I love this. It's a coffee, hot, and that's it.
First, can you tell us about your manufacturing? Or Joe?
Yeah.
Group of product lineup that you manufacture.
Yeah, we have 2 main brands. Sports nutrition is where we started. We fuel like Olympic athletes, everyday athletes. And our focus originally was on the endurance athlete. That's where I came from, Ironman and such. And as time went by, we became more informed about protein and the role it plays in getting people recovered, athletes recovered. And then I got keyed in on the healthy aging space. I just love the healthy aging space. I think we should, as a society, do way better educating in this space because it can have a huge, huge impact. So our business kind of morphed where we're more protein focused today under the Grupo line as well. We introduced Polar Joe, a secondary brand, because we have this protein iced coffee. It's just an enjoyable way to get protein in your diet. And those are our 2 brands. We do some manufacturing over on McDougall. We have a storefront over there. And we used to do all our own manufacturing. Fortunately, we've scaled. So now we use contract manufacturers to help us with that. I'd say about 90% of what we sell is made by someone else now under our control.
Where can we buy it?
Pardon?
Where can we get it?
We're over at 1540 McDougall. I can give you guys a card if anybody is so inclined. I have a sample because some people didn't come, like the people here. I'm glad you're here, but you don't get a sample today. The rest of you can have a sample. Deb's tried it. It's just an easy to drink protein coffee. So you can make it hot or cold. Just mix it with water and you get 21 grams of protein. So yeah, so we're scaling now to the US, which is exciting, scary, cash flow, as you grow your business. So we're at a little bit of an inflection point. So it's a fun space to be in. And I'm super passionate about our space, like the 40 plus. I think we can make such a difference in society. I'm not a big believer in cutting and pills and everything else. I think there's a natural way to get this done. And it's some of the stuff that I've already talked to. So, yeah.
one of the fellows at our racquetball league, he's ranked like nationally.
Yeah.
Coaches, excellent player. And in between games, I see him drinking his polar deal.
Oh, really?
Kudos, he's right up there.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. I'm not overly salesy. I want you to take a couple key messages away today. 1.6, 4 pillars. If you're doing it already, kudos to you. Keep doing it. You can make a small shift. I encourage you to do that. You will have my email. If you take my card, and I will work with anyone. If you ask me for help, I will find the time to help you, because this is what fuels me. You talked about, I see that you guys give. It's all about giving in Rotary. And this is something that I can give, and I'd love to reach out. So thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Darcy, for coming out so early in the morning and on a little bit of a snowy day. Really appreciate it. I'm a big fan of the Polar Joe. I will put that in my water bottle in the mornings when I'm going to ride or kayak or whatever, and then I know I'm getting that nice zing of protein to start the day. The really nice thing is that you've simplified it enough that I can certainly work with my patients. Historically, physios didn't do a lot of nutrition per se, but I mean, this is an easy way to, if you're looking at how many grams and you've got the protein counter there, it'd be easy for patients and my youngest daughter, who doesn't get very much protein, to up that protein and live a healthier and stronger life. So thank you so much, Darcy. Really appreciate. And with your protein, you can also add a little bit of honey that Monique is handing you there from a locally sourced honey maker. So thank you so much, Darcy.
My pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll set up some cards.